Hey everyone, I wanted to go over some new and exciting news that we got for Hunter Rise Sunbreak, which is now available on both Nintendo Switch and on PC. And in this video I want to try to shed some light regarding some of the misconceptions we have seen when it comes to the light bowgun's balance changes as we headed into Sunbreak. Essentially, slicing and stickies were nerfed, which has led people to flat out dismiss them entirely as just complete worthless type of ammos to use, as they shift over to either pierce or sharpnel ammo and stuff like that, or even spread for that matter. I've seen a lot of spread love lately. But I kind of want to shed some light regarding this and just kind of show you that it's not completely dead. Slicing is certainly still viable to a certain degree, and stickies for that matter are not dead either. So I want to try to tackle a very early build armor that you can actually make if you're a light bowgun user. I believe you need to be like Master Rank 3 to be able to craft this stuff. And if you want to use the Magnum light bowgun for both slicing and sticky, you can stick to Master Rank 3 to be able to craft all of your parts. But if you make it to Master Rank 4, you can also choose to go with this Sonogur light bowgun, which is just the Despot Wildfire Plus. Is an amazing weapon to use, and they have added a couple of things to it. So first and foremost, I'm going to be showing the armor set right there. It looks ugly, so you're going to put layered armor on it. It doesn't necessarily matter what it actually looks like, but it's basically you're going to want the Vike Helm X, the Vike Mel X, the Rhinoplast Bracers X, Hermitor Coil, and Ignat Greaves X. Now you're of course going to use the Pedal Ace for damage. It doesn't really matter what type of talisman you have. As long as you have 3 slots and you can slot something worthwhile in there, you should be good to go. And when it comes to, like I said, the light bowgun, if you go with the Magnum one, it's probably going to be easier to get early on. But if you eventually choose to go with the Sonogur one, you are going to need a mantle, and that thing took me about 15 hunts to actually get it, doing double Signogur hunts. So the RNG on that one, you know, Desire RNG is just a thing. You know, it is what it is. Now the first thing you're going to notice is that your defense almost hits 600. I believe mine is 593. So you're going to have more than enough defense to be able to take in multiple hits. Now that doesn't mean you're not going to get comboed by monsters, especially once you make your way into the higher master ranks and you're fighting elders and stuff. Those guys are still going to hit you 90% of your health. You're not going to avoid that, but you're not going to get one-shotted, and that's the really important thing. I've seen a lot of people discuss 400 defense being like acceptable. I don't think it is. You want 500 plus, and this thing is going to get you to almost 600, so you're going to be good to go once you upgrade it completely. But I think the real kicker here is the fact that if you were already using like Crimson Glow Valstrax high rank armor and you're already like aiming for slicing and stickies, you pretty much already have most of the decorations you're going to need. You're not going to need to craft anything else. What you're going to end up with is something along the lines of Weakness Exploit 3, Spare Shot 3, Reload Speed 3, Recoil Down 3, Rapid Fire Up 3, Attack Bonus 2, Critical Eye 2, Artillery 2, Ammo Up 2, Handicraft and Quick Sheath are just added in there by bonuses. Horn Maestro comes from my talisman, so that's not necessarily all that important. Load Shells level 1, Special Ammo Boost level 1, Recovery Speed 1, Hunger Resistance 1, and Tune Up plus 1. Now Tune Up is the real kicker here. I'm sure you guys have heard about it by now, but it increases the stats of silencers and shield if either are equipped, and it gives you reload speed number 1. So the thing is about when it came to stickies and slicing is that basically you got a damage reduction just flat out over across the board. So you're just going to do less damage with it. Even if you put on your high rank armor, you're going to notice the difference pretty much right away. But not only that, you now have longer reloads. So the reload means that you're taking longer time to get set up, and then you're shooting slower, and then you're doing less damage. So that's how they basically decided to kind of nerf it all the way across the board. So what Tune Up is going to do is basically give you that reload speed back automatically. All you have to do is switch the long barrel to a silencer and you're good to go. Now I'm not necessarily try level 2. I'm not necessarily even sure if it's necessary, since you're already going to have like a really fast reload. Is probably overkill at that point. And if you're looking to correct the quick reload, this is pretty much the way you're going to do it, the Tune Up. Now in order to target to be able to do a little bit more damage, what you're going to want to do is start using those Rampage decoration slots specifically for your weapon. This is why you want a Master Rank weapon. If you either choose to go with the Magnum or the Sonogur, whichever one you go with, they're all going to have a Rampage slot. And in there, you're going to have a slot for this decorations that you're going to either slot in an anti-aquatic jewel 2, anti-aerial jewel 2, anti-dragon jewel 2, or a fanged exploit jewel 2. Now what these decorations specifically do is give you extra added damage for whatever the monster typing you are going to be hunting. So the caveat here is that you're going to have 4 specific loadouts, one for the anti-aquatic, one for anti-aerial, anti-dragon, and fanged exploits. But if you already have that set up in your, like, you know, in your bank, in your item box, you're not necessarily going to have all that much of a problem. All you really have to know is which monsters you're going to hunt. If you're going to be hunting a dragon, if you're going to be hunting a leviathan, a fanged wyvern, whatever it's going to be, know where you're going to hunt ahead of time. Choose whatever preloaded armor you already have with those decorations equipped, and you're good to go. Now, I've heard multiple claims this gives you plus 10, plus 15, plus 20 extra damage. I don't necessarily know. I haven't crunched the numbers. I'm sure someone else has, but I haven't necessarily seen it. What I do know is that it basically gets you to that point where now all your slicing, all your stickies are just going to do the proper amount of damage all over again. Now, the reason why I'm a big advocate on slicing and stickies is for 2 good reasons. Basically, they're mindless and they're super easy to deal with. You don't necessarily think about it all that much because you're hitting the weak spot. All you're worried about is basically hitting the head or the tail, and that's kind of about it. You don't have to worry about it. Now, a lot of people are very much big proponents of like Pierce, and Pierce is very good, but Pierce is also very dependent on your stationary, like where it is that you're standing. If you're fighting like a Leviathan type monster, you're of course going to get a bunch of Pierce crits and a bunch of extra damage as you're doing a lot of hits stacked up on top of each other because that is an elongated monster. But if you're fighting something like a Gosharag and you're trying to like basically do the max amount of damage, you have to stand on his side the entire time and do it across both of his arms and his head. So that's not necessarily very realistic. You're spending most of your time repositioning, and it's just unrealistic to expect to do max damage at every single shot, especially if you have rapid fire and she's constantly moving. So it's just unrealistic to do that. But if you have static damage with slicing, which is already a static damage, and then sticky on top of that, all you want to do is maximize that as much as possible, and then it becomes mindless. It's just as long as you hit your spots, you're going to be good to go. And that's why I kind of like it. Now, is it going to be ultimately an end game build? No, this is a very much early Master Rank 3, you know, Master Rank 4 type of armor. You're going to be able to make it, definitely be able to beat the last boss and not necessarily have a problem with that. You're going to have more than enough defense to be able to withstand even elders. That's not going to be the problem. The thing here is about just making your way through the story. If you're struggling with it, sticky and slicing is still very much viable. Now, when it comes to unlocking this armor, very much so the Vike helm and the Vike chest, you're going to be able to unlock it whenever you get Master Rank explorations with your buddies. So whenever you are able to send them out on a hunt and they're like Master Rank level, basically as you progress the story, you're going to have that option available to you. And all you're going to want to do is send them to pick up herbs and make sure you have them to pick up like easier rare materials. And what you're looking for is a large armor bream. And if you find a couple of those, I think you're just going to need maybe 8 in total or something along those lines. Once you find 8, you're going to be able to craft those 2 other armors, the chest and the head. When it comes to the gloves, you're going to be able to make the Renoplos X. Basically, once you just kill a Renoplos, you're going to need a large herbivore bone. That's pretty much the only part that I needed. I killed a couple and I got them pretty easily. I think you're going to need 5, so it's not a real big deal there. For Ingot X, what you're going to need to do is do a couple of mining runs. I didn't necessarily do a lot. I just did one and I picked up a couple of items. Pure crystals, I think, are probably the toughest ones to get. Melspar stones, saffron stones. You should be able to have those even if from high rank. They're not necessarily rare. Now, easily the toughest part of this specific armor to put together is, of course, the waist, the Hermitor coil. And that's because you're going to need a time-worn Crimson Horn. And in order to get this one, you're going to need to kill a Daimyo Hermitor and basically break a shell, or hunt it enough times and basically it's just a random drop. So it's going to be very much RNG based, you know, it is what it is. That is the nature of the game. But if you break the shell, it's pretty much guaranteed. Breaking the shell, I couldn't necessarily do it. I did the double hunt a couple of times, couldn't really do it. So basically I just ended up getting it in a random drop and you should be good to go. Once you have that, the armor is for you to have, and then of course getting the weapon is basically just farming whatever materials you need. I already had the Magna Malo high rank version, so all I needed was basic Magna Malo parts. You don't need a mantle. But when it comes to the Zinogre master rank, first tier of the Zinogre master rank light bowgun, you do need a mantle, which is like, of course, like a 3% drop or whatever, and that took me quite a while to be able to get it. So, you know, but once you have that, you should be good to go, and then you already have your pretty much the armor that's going to carry you all the way to end game. After that point, then you can make whatever end game armors I'm sure other people are going to be crafting up rather soon, that I wouldn't necessarily spend all my materials just yet trying to craft or even farm a quote-unquote end game armor right now, only because, you know, people are still kind of putting that together, trying to figure that out. But when it comes to a rather easy armor to put together to just kind of carry you to master rank, I think this one is more than enough, and it certainly helped me make it all the way to the end of the game. But that's about all the information that I want to go over. I usually don't make like armor videos and stuff like that. I focus more about news related stuff, but I thought this one was extremely helpful for me. Therefore, I wanted to share it with you guys. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up. And as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.